Alright, so I'm going to be explaining the game that I made called Space Explorer. It's an educational space exploring game where you learn about the planets and the sun in our solar system. So I'm going to start off by just running the game. So let's do build and run. Alright, so here's the start screen. It says find all the objects. To learn more about the solar system, then take a quiz. So let's hit start. And here we are. This is like our main hub area. You are this rocket flying around. And then to find out information about the planets, you just run into them. So I'm gonna quickly run through all of these. And the sizes of the planets aren't perfect, but they do kind of relate to what it's like how here Venus and Earth are pretty close in size, and then how Mars is 1/3 the size of Earth. So it's not perfect, but I tried to get it to relate a little bit. Alright, so now that we've seen all of the planets and the sun, we hit this quiz me button down here. So here's a quiz. What is the largest planet in the solar system? So the correct answer is Jupiter, but I'm going to click the wrong one. Let's see. Okay, so click here to find the right answer. It'll bring you back to where you can go and look at all the objects again and find the correct answer. So let's do that. You know that Jupiter is the largest planet. What planets have no moons? That is Mercury and Venus. How many planets are there? 8. And then what planet lays on its side? That's Uranus. And that's it. So if we take a look at the game itself, I have all these scenes down here. Essentially I have the start, the end, wrong, all the corrects, and then one for all the planets as well. So when you run into all the planets, there are scenes for each one. If we look at the main area, this is what it looks like. So the planets are kind of in a spiral around the sun. I made it so the camera and the rocket move together. So I took, I have a movement script. Oops, did not mean to open that. If we look at our movement script, it's just a simple movement script, but I applied it to the rocket and the camera so that they would move together. And then what else is there? If we take a look at the questions, the way I have it set up, if we look at the build settings, so essentially what happens when you click this quiz me button is it brings you to question 1, and if you get it wrong, it'll send you back to scene 11, which is the wrong button. So if we look at the wrong, And then this button here will bring you back to the main area. But if you get it right, it'll bring you to the next scene. So that would be this correct scene, and then the button on the correct scene would bring you to the next question. And that script is right here. So you get the active scene, and you build one, and it moves you to the next scene until you reach the end. I did on the main scene, let's look at that. I did create all of these images myself. I think the website I used was just pixelart.com or something like that. It allowed me to take an actual picture and kind of trace over it. And I like this little, like, I don't know, 8-bit feel, and all the music kind of relates to that. So all of it has that like chiptune style, which I really enjoyed. I enjoyed adding in all the music and just creating this little world. The hardest part was probably the collisions. So if we look at the script for going into each of the planet scenes, essentially what happens is this is applied to the rocket, and the planets and the sun and the rocket both have like the physics 2D collision thing on, and then one of them is an on trigger. So when that happens, depending on what tag it has, so like Venus has the tag Venus. If we look there, it'll load scene 3. If we look at build settings, scene 3 is the Venus scene. So it is this one. So, and then when you push this button, it brings you back to the main area. So, I had difficulty figuring out which one was supposed to be the trigger and which one needed collisions, and the collision type, because I needed to make sure this rocket didn't just like fall straight down. And it needed to have the kinematic rather than dynamic or static body type for the rigid body. So that took a lot of tweaking, but I got there eventually. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this project. I enjoyed all aspects of it, actually, like the little programming parts and the just creation of the scene and everything, all the scenes, everything. And I'm glad I got to create something that related to something I enjoy. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, bye.